The 2026 era of Formula One has finally arrived, and what we're seeing is a technical revolution like never before. Today, we're breaking down the new Racing Bulls car that just hit the track at Imola, revealing the secrets their renders tried to hide. We're also diving into the game-changing active Aero and how it's going to flip the script on overtaking. And of course, the big one, Audi's official launch, arriving in style with Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto. But it's not all celebrations. There's a massive war brewing behind the scenes over engine legality that could blow the doors off the competition between Mercedes, Red Bull, and the rest of the manufacturers. The 2026 championship starts right here. Racing Bulls didn't waste any time getting the VCARB03 out on track at Imola for a filming day, and what we saw was way more than those digital concepts they showed us earlier. It's the same old story. Renders are great for hype, but the asphalt tells the truth. The physical car features much more aggressive and complex details. What really stood out to everyone there was the total overhaul of the cooling system. The airbox, that intake above the driver's head, has grown significantly, and the shape has been completely redesigned. Unlike the conventional looks we've seen, this design is pretty wild, with a longer top line forming a hood over the inlet. The internal V structure around the roll hoop is still there, but this hooded solution seems to have a clear goal: managing the aero losses caused by the halo and the driver's helmet. Essentially, the team is trying to clean up the airflow heading to the back of the car, which is crucial now that Lando Norris, as the defending champ, has set a massive bar for aero efficiency. Speaking of efficiency, the side pods have changed a lot too. Comparing them to what we've seen on the Red Bull or Sergio Perez's Cadillac, Racing Bulls went a very interesting route. They've split the cooling. The hybrid components get air from the center line, while the internal combustion engine is cooled by heat exchangers tucked inside the side pods. This allowed engineers to sculpt a much tighter bodywork, which is key under these new rules to handle the wake coming off the front tires. It's high-end engineering trying to claw back every millisecond possible. Looking closely at the front wing and the nose, there's plenty to talk about. The wing pylons are beefier and more solidly attached to the tip of the nose. And while we haven't seen those small dive planes on the end plates yet, the overall architecture proves Racing Bulls is playing for keeps. The suspension was also confirmed as a pushrod system both front and rear, showing a trend toward mechanical stability to handle the new tires and the torque from the 2026 engines. But we know how it goes. The development pace is going to be insane. What we saw at Imola today could be totally different by the time we hit preseason testing, because no one wants to show their hand too early. We are tracking every single inch of this transition because Formula One has never been this high-tech or this unpredictable. That's why I'm bringing you this deep dive analysis, because you're not just here to see the cars go by, you're here to understand why they're fast. If you appreciate this level of detail and want to stay ahead of the curve on everything happening with these new regulations, subscribing to Formula News USA is a must. When you subscribe and hit that like button, you ensure you won't miss a single technical update or paddock drama, and it helps the algorithm show this content to more F1 junkies like us. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think of this new Racing Bulls look? Do you think this bet on centerline cooling will give them an edge over teams like Williams, where Carlos Sainz is now racing? Also, let me know which city you're watching from. It's awesome to see how far the F1 fever is spreading across the states, and that engagement really helps the channel grow. Drop a comment below. The debate is just getting started, and we still have to talk about active Aero and the ways Audi is making in the paddock.
If Racing Bulls showed that Aero refinement is on another level, what's really going to separate the winners from the losers in 2026 is active Aero. Forget everything you knew about ground effect from the last few years. F1 has flipped the script, and now the name of the game is versatility. We're moving away from an era where the floor was everything and into a phase where the wings actually come to life. The flat floor and rear diffuser are back to basics. The teams are facing entirely new criteria they have to master. Why such a massive shift? F1's biggest enemy has always been dirty air, or wake turbulence. The 2026 rules were designed to kill that problem while balancing the power of the new units. The most jarring change for fans is going to be seeing both the front and rear wings move. On the straights, these elements flatten out to kill drag so the car can fly, and in the corners, they snap back to provide the downforce and balance the driver needs to take a turn at 180 miles per hour. We've been used to the DRS on the rear wing since 2011, but seeing the front wing reclining in real time is going to be a trip. And here's a fun fact. this isn't the first time the sport has tried this. Back in 2009, F1 experimented with movable front wing flaps so drivers could balance the car while following someone. The driver could adjust it twice a lap. It didn't really work and was scrapped after 2 seasons for the DRS we know today. But what we're seeing now is light years ahead. On the Racing Bulls and Red Bull renders, you can already spot the hidden actuators, showing a much more integrated system than what Braun GP had back in the day. This time, Active Aero works as a pair. The front wing went from 4 elements down to 3, and the top 2 are the ones that move. Each team will decide how much they want to flatten those flaps on the straights, based on their efficiency strategy. Meanwhile, the rear wing can also have 3 sections now, but the box they have to fit in is much smaller than before. The challenge for designers is brutal. They need to create parts that generate massive downforce for cornering, but can dump all that drag on the straights. It's a razor-thin line between stability and top speed. This is going to completely change how drivers like Lewis Hamilton, now in Ferrari Red, or Leclerc have to handle wheel-to-wheel combat. Managing that energy and the wing position is going to be a mental marathon. It's not just gas and brake anymore. It's knowing exactly which millisecond to drop the wing to make a pass or defend a line. And you can bet the teams running Ronda engines, like Aston Martin, are working overtime to sync that aero mapping with the engine's electrical output. Now here's the million-dollar question. Is Active Aero actually going to make racing better, or is it going to make the cars a nightmare to drive at the limit? We saw the last set of rules promise the world, and in the end, Dirty Air came back with a vengeance. This time, with the front wings working with the driver, the hope is that following through high-speed sweeps will be much more sustainable. But the risk is having cars that become totally unstable if the system glitches, or if the balance between front and rear isn't perfect. Imagine this. You're diving into a high-speed corner. The rear wing snaps back into high downforce mode, but the front wing is 1/10 of a second late. The result? Unpredictable understeer that sends you straight into the wall. That's why simulators are more important than ever. Lando Norris, defending his title, and every other driver on the grid are spending countless hours trying to figure out how to react to these sudden shifts in car behavior. F1 is turning into something closer to a fighter jet, where control surfaces are constantly moving to keep the thing on the edge of performance. All this technical complexity is why Formula One is the pinnacle of the sport. It's not just about who has the biggest engine, it's about who solves the puzzle of wind and carbon fiber. And speaking of people coming in to solve that puzzle, Audi finally showed their true colors, and their project is way too ambitious to ignore. They didn't come here just to participate. What they showed in Berlin proves the game just leveled up. But are they ready to take on the giants?
The hype in Berlin was off the charts. Audi finally pulled the curtain back on the R26, the car that marks the German giant's official entry into the F1 circus. And we're not talking about a half effort here. Audi is coming in as a full works team, building both the chassis and the power unit in-house. The event at Kraftwerk Berlin was a total statement of intent. The final livery, with that aggressive mix of titanium, exposed carbon fiber, and lava red, made it clear they want to scream technology and aggression from day one. On stage, we saw some familiar faces who now carry the weight of turning billions in investment into trophies. The technical side is in heavy-hitting hands. Mattia Binotto is leading the project, and Jonathan Wheatley brought all his championship-winning secrets from Red Bull to serve as team principal. But what really gets us going is the driver lineup. Pairing the veteran Nico Hülkenberg with Gabriel Bortoleto is a pro move. The Hulk finally got what he's been chasing his whole career, a factory seat. And Bortoleto, after a very solid rookie year, has the chance of a lifetime to grow with a project that wants to conquer the world. Audi isn't messing around, and CEO Gernot Döllner was blunt. The goal is the World Championship by 2030. They're calling it Mission 2030. That might sound like a long way off, but in F1, starting from scratch and hitting the top in 5 years is a mountain of a task. We know it's a tough road ahead. Facing off against Ferrari, Mercedes, and Lando Norris's McLaren takes more than just a big checkbook. It takes a culture of precision that Audi showed at Le Mans, but will be tested to the limit here. Wheatley himself was very grounded, saying the team arrives with humility, knowing you don't beat the big dogs just because you have the 4 rings on the nose. You have to build that championship DNA day by day. The R26 already did some laps during a filming day in Barcelona, and even though Audi tried to hide their hand by using a show car in Berlin, the data from the Spanish track is what really matters. Binotto's big selling point is the total integration between the engine plant in Newburgh and the chassis development in Hinwil.
He believes having total control over every variable, from the engine block to the front wing, is what's going to give them an agility that customer teams will never have. It's that classic advantage. The engine is made for the car and the car for the engine. Period. But while Audi is celebrating, the vibe in the paddock has turned sour for a much less festive reason. There is a massive cloud of suspicion hanging over the 2026 engines, and Audi is right at the front of the firing line. The controversy is all about the compression ratio of the new engines. According to the rules, the limit is 16:1, measured at ambient conditions. The problem? There are huge rumors that Mercedes and Red Bull might have found a silver bullet to run a much higher ratio once the engine hits operating temperature. If this is true, we're talking about a gain of up to 15 horsepower, which translates to almost half a second a lap. In a grid this tight, that's an eternity. Binotto was very direct, saying that if this loophole is real, the performance gap at the start of the season is going to be a disaster. Audi, Ferrari, and Honda have already teamed up to demand answers from the FIA. They want the measurement method to change. There's no point in measuring a cold, disassembled engine if it works differently when it's actually racing. James Key, Audi's technical director, compared it to letting someone run an illegal diffuser all year just because no one else can copy it in time. It's a fight for a level playing field that could decide the title before the lights go out in Melbourne. The tension is high because no one wants to start this historic new era on the back foot because of a gray area in the rulebook. The meeting with the FIA is going to set the tone for the entire year. Audi knows that to hit Mission 2030, they can't let the rivals get away with engine tricks from the jump. The politics in F1 are just as intense as the racing, and we're seeing Audi show its teeth for the first time. So what do you think? Is Audi right to call them out early, or is this just fear of what Mercedes and Red Bull have cooked up? Do you think Bortoleto can grab a podium for the Germans in year one? The debate is heating up, and we still have to break down how all these pieces fit together when the cars finally line up on the grid.
This engine war we're seeing is the perfect example of how F1 is decided long before the cars hit the track. Binotto and James Key know that if Mercedes and Red Bull really did figure out how to bypass the compression ratio, the 2026 championship is dead on arrival for everyone else. And the issue isn't just whether a rule was broken, but how the FIA even polices it. Right now, they measure it cold, but what matters is when that thing is burning fuel at 1,000 degrees. That's when the physics change and the advantage shows up. Audi and Ferrari are pushing for real-time monitoring. They want the FIA to see the data while the car is at full tilt. Why is this so vital? Because engines are homologated and frozen. If someone starts the year with a 30 horsepower advantage due to a thermal trick, the other teams can't just copy the design next month. They'd be stuck losing for the entire season. James Key hit the nail on the head. Nobody would accept a car running an illegal wing just because the others don't have one. It should be the same for the engine. That technical balance is what keeps us glued to the screen on Sundays. The meeting with the FIA this month is going to define the early races. There's even talk of official protests at the Australian Grand Prix. Imagine the mess, the first race of a historic era ending in court over a compression ratio. Nobody wants that. But in the hunt for Vorsprung durch Technik, Audi has already shown they're going to be a massive pain in the neck for the old guard. Meanwhile, we're watching teams like Williams, where Carlos Sainz is trying to rebuild his career, and the Cadillac of Sergio Perez praying that this fight at the top doesn't leave them even further behind. The reality is that 2026 F1 is a puzzle of moving parts, ultra-efficient engines, and high-stakes politics. We saw the birth of Audi's R26, the Aero secrets of Racing Bulls, and the active Aero tech that's going to challenge legends like Hamilton at Ferrari and Leclerc. Lando Norris has the biggest challenge of his life to defend that #1 plate with all this innovation flying around. Every detail we talked about today, from the airbox shape to the energy delivery of the Honda engines, is going to decide who gets the last laugh in Abu Dhabi. To make sure you don't miss a single beat of what promises to be the most high-tech season in history, I need you to join our community. If this analysis helped you get a better grip on the new cars and the engineering secrets, go ahead and subscribe to Formula News USA. Hit that like button and share this video with your friends who live for the technical side of the sport. It lets YouTube know the content is the real deal and helps us reach more fans. Your support is the fuel that keeps this deep dive coverage going. I want to thank you guys for sticking with us through this technical breakdown. I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation in the comments. Which of these updates surprised you the most? The active front wings or seeing Bortoleto in Audi colors? Also, drop your city in the comments. It's always great to see where the US fan base is tuning in from. I'm going to leave 2 more videos on the end screen that I know you'll love to keep you up to speed.
Thanks a ton for watching. A huge hug to everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.